Hello, and welcome to TP's Music Talk Podcast. My name is Ryan Ford.
And I'm Nick Replinger.
And you can find us at our website, tpmusictalkpod.wordpress.com.
And you can also find us at anchor.fm/TP Music Talk Podcast and other major podcasting platforms by searching for TP's Music Talk Podcast.
You can find us on other social media as well, like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, and others by searching for TP Music Talk Podcast or for TP Music Talk Pod on Twitter. Just look for our logo.
And you can also email us at tpmusictalkpodcast@gmail.com.
We also have shared playlists on Apple Music and Spotify that you can check out by searching TP's Music Talk Podcast as well.
And don't forget to click the link in the description and leave us a voice message on Anchor. And feel free to leave us a message or a review anywhere you're listening. It really helps us out. And don't forget, donations are always appreciated. You can find a link to donate in the description of any of our episodes.
No part of our show can be reproduced without permission or written consent.
Hey Ryan, what are you doing this weekend?
Yeah, man, I'm hanging out with McKay. We're going to take a look at his latest engravings and talk about giveaways for I Engrave stuff.
Oh yeah, that's awesome, especially about those giveaways. And you know, I was on the internet the other day and I saw these ads for these other engraving services, and man, their prices are expensive.
Yeah, man. A lot of those other engraving companies will charge you up the wazoo for things. But I've noticed that McKay's company, they have items that are priced very reasonably, making it affordable, especially this year, to get a personalized and really impactful gift. Get your parents something that is heartfelt with your signature, or you can even do a letter in your own handwriting on something.
Oh yeah, that's right. And you can even send a scan of your handwriting on a letter, and they can engrave it onto a sign, a bottle, or whatever you could think of. The possibilities are endless with them.
Yeah, and right now, if you're in the checkout area, you can type in TP10 in all caps in the promo code box, and you'll get an extra 10% off. A gift from us. Go to iengravestuff.com today. Hey, welcome back to the show. My name's Ryan, and this is Nick.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you guys. We got an awesome show lined up for you. We also have a few updates that we'd like to tell you about.
Yeah, so our website, we've added some polish to, and we're just trying to get things right there, particularly the mobile version of the website. So feel free to check that out if you have a second. We've been working on it quite a bit. We also have some updated playlists on Spotify and Apple Music, some updated descriptions, and we are aware that our Depeche Mode playlist is not working right now. We are working on getting that fixed. But yeah, enough announcements. Let's go ahead and get into this. We have a very special guest today.
Yeah, his name is McKay Wood. He plays as the drummer for Blix 10 with me on the band, and we also have a new single out called Raining Stars. It's got a couple thousand streams on Spotify.
Like almost 3,000.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
3K. Woo!
I listen to it all the time. It's an amazing song. And what else? He also is kind of the CEO of a new company.
Yes, sir.
Called I Engrave Stuff.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so tell us about that.
Man, I started my own business. Kind of got my family involved. It's a family business, and it's called I Engrave Stuff. We got a laser engraver, and we'll do world-class engravings made with love. That's our tagline.
Yeah, and if you guys want anything done, the sky's the limit with McKay. He's already done a couple products for me. He made an anniversary gift for me to give to my girlfriend. It's totally custom made, and she absolutely loved it.
That One Tree Hill.
Yeah, because it's her favorite TV show. And
that was a nice one.
Well, and he's even done a couple things for us here at Transmitter. He's made me a water bottle that actually has our logo on it, the Transmitter logo, and it's got his logo underneath I Engrave Stuff, as well as his initials.
And he even made me a wireless phone charger with a Transmitter logo on it as well. It was really sweet.
And I can make you one of those if you want one.
I would love one.
I don't
know if
your phone does wireless charging, but
it does. Yeah.
Technology, man.
Yeah, so where can people find you to stuff?
I engrave stuff on pretty much anything. I try to keep it simple, so just I engrave stuff on Instagram, Facebook, iengravestuff.com. That's our website. So iengravestuff.com/shop. Go to that one. Send us some money. We got some stuff coming out for you guys, so it'll be nice.
Yeah.
We're really open to commissions. So if anybody has anything they want to try to engrave, we have a CO2 laser machine. So I mean, it's not a fiber laser machine. It won't do metal, but it'll do pretty much anything else. It can do wood, glass, marble, aluminum. It can take the paint off, like if it's those Yeti cups. I did a few Yeti cups the other day. The hard part is we can do anything.
Yeah.
So
the sky is the limit, really.
That's the hard part. Like it's just been a long time coming, and I'm glad it's here.
Yeah, so if you guys want anything done, reach out to McKay. And we also have him on here the show today because he is also a huge EDM fan, which is our topic for today. Yeah. Electronic dance music, if you don't know what EDM stands for.
Yeah, and thanks for you guys to flying out to my secret headquarters out here.
Thanks for bringing us out in style.
Yeah. Thanks for paying for us to come out.
I hope first class was good enough.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe next time it might be a private jet, but yeah. Oh, yeah.
I might get the G5 or maybe a G7. If we're lucky, might get a G7, but those are probably in the 50, 60 mils right now. I don't want to spend that much money in a few years.
In all seriousness, though, thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And we hope to talk to you more about merchandise for what we have planned too. And we're actually sitting right next to his CO2 laser machine right now.
Yep.
And, yeah, it does.
Hope you can hear that, guys.
Do a little thunk on the laser here. Yep.
But so let's get into this. We had some questions lined up, but McKay has done tons of research. He actually has like pages of stuff to go over with you guys today, and I think you're really going to enjoy this. So we're just going to kind of hand it over to him and just add in what we can.
Let me just preface, though, it might be dry.
No.
In a few spots, we'll try to keep it entertaining. But in a few spots, I think maybe stop me and say something funny. Because we're covering a really, really thick topic, and thick with 2 C's, you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah.
It is true. It is so much.
Thick topic, and it's EDM. Electronic dance music, which that's such a broad topic. That's like acoustic chill music, you know? Like,
there's so much that goes into it.
It's kind of hard to just smash it all into with a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour.
Yeah, but
there's so many subgenres.
Yeah, they keep on branching. They'll take a sound from here and a sound from here, combine it, or like leave a part out, and that's what makes the beat. And it's like they do some crazy stuff nowadays, and it's cool because it's nice with Spotify and streaming nowadays because you can go through quite a lot of music, and there's hundreds of artists. So being able to stream stuff has really, helped me be able to listen to a lot of artists that I probably wouldn't have found otherwise. But because we can just, hear what they have to say, oh man, I've heard hundreds, and they branch. Like, some of them are closer to others, and then some are really far away from pretty much anything. Like, they're really on their own planet, in a sense,
So there's seems to be a very wide spectrum of EDM music, but for those who are not familiar with it at all, how would you describe the definition of EDM music?
Yeah, what is EDM, if you could even try to describe it?
If I were to describe EDM, it's just so broad. But I know, if I were to describe it, I would say it's stuff you dance to. It's stuff if you're not bobbing your head, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
But how would you distinguish that from other types of music? Because other types of music can get you dancing. Yeah. But what makes it electronic dance music? Or what really sets it apart from maybe like pop or rock or rap or R&B?
It's probably not, lyrics are not the big forte.
It's more of a connection, right? Like, like at concerts, it's the DJ connecting with the audience, creating sounds that bring everybody together. Like, it's not so much the vocals as it is the actual sounds that are created.
Yeah, it's like they can take the vocals as another sound, and they can add tools to warp even that. And it's these tools on their software that is being able to really change sound and really get what they want.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of like an augmented reality.
Pretty much.
For the ears.
Yeah. It's like it's hardcore visualizing.
Yeah.
Hardcore thinking, man, I want to really capture that thought or that feeling. And I like the thought of the zip file theory. Or have you ever heard of the zip file theory?
I haven't. Why don't you go ahead and tell us?
It's kind of like how artists and mediums can create a thing, and it's almost like a zip file. All they do is compile a thing, and the people open it, and it unleashes all these feelings and what the person has put into the music. Kind of like a zip file.
Almost like pure creativity, right? Like
Yeah, pure creativity, which is, I know I'm dreaming of becoming a producer in the future. I know I don't have the software right now to currently bend and use the tools, and I don't really know how to use that right now. But I know I want to in the future. I kind of got the laser stuff going right now. That's what I got a major in. Like I'm putting photos on real, like,
well, and you have your band too.
I mean, then we got the band. I'm drummer on Blix 10. Shout out Blix 10.
Yeah.
And it's just so fun. And I forgot where we were going.
Well,
so I guess that's like EDM is very broad, but pretty much it's anything that's electronic, makes it dance, and it's music. And so going on to the next question is, how did you discover EDM music? What kind of got you into it? What made you decide, I really like this and I love this genre and style of music?
Well, I think it was a merge of the culture. Like, I didn't necessarily understand what EDM was, or like I didn't care to figure it out either. Like, I liked music. I liked good music. That's what I would say. So I'd hear a Rascal Flatts song, and my parents really loved that, and I loved them too. And then I heard these other songs, and I loved them too. And then you just get into EDM, and it's these, they go deeper onto what you love. Like, you loved this part of this song, we'll hear this song, because they do it but a little more. Like, and then you find another artist, and all of their songs sound like that, or they use techniques that sound like that, and you just found another artist that you're gonna follow. And then you see similar artists, and it just branches, and there's so many subgenres that it's almost hard to really pin people down.
Like, what are a few of the other subgenres in EDM music?
It started back with disco. So there's disco music that kind of branched into what we know as EDM today. There's things known as synth pop, which I'm not sure of an example for synth pop, but there's synth pop techno, house music, trance music, drum and bass, dubstep, trap, hardstyle nowadays, like hardcore rave music.
And then you have the spin-offs and like genre mixing. You can find electronic music in nu metal, you can find it in metal today, rock music, pop, like hip-hop. It's just kind of everywhere. And I think that really shows how it's kind of influenced not just people that like electronic music, but different cultures and different genres of music.
Yeah, it's getting everywhere. And nowadays, you can't see a number one, like the top 5 hit, without it having some type of influence from EDM, unless it's like a mainstream Metallica song that they released. That might not have too many things that are EDM. It's still Metallica. But if it's, I don't know, Selena Gomez, she releases a new song with Marshmello.
Justin Bieber.
Complete merge. And I've seen Marshmello live a few times, so I kind of know what to expect from his music. So before even hearing the Selena Gomez song with Marshmello, I kind of had an idea of what it might sound like. Then I listened to it. It was exactly what I thought it would sound like. Just a flavor of the many flavors it could have been. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
So to me, it sounds like that EDM is more of you hear one thing, but then the future EDM goes, how can I change this? How can I make it sound better? Or how can I make it sound different? And it's just an evolution of music. And that's basically what EDM music is. It's electronic music that evolves.
Constant. And it's been evolving ever since the 70s. 70s, they had people like, what's his name? Daft Punk. They were helping George McKay make a song called Rock Your Baby back in 1974. And that was like Daft Punk use a Roland rhythm machine, like a drum machine, to make the beat. And George McKay just sang over it, and he just did a little doo-bop type sing on top of it, and it was EDM. And people like I think it was received well back in the time because they also had Donna Summer's synthesized disco hit I Feel Love, which, you know, I can't think of what that sounds like, but it's back in the 1970s.
Right.
And I'm born in 1995. I'm 23 years old.
Yeah, you know, we're all 90s kids, you know, and so it's been around a lot longer than we all have, but it seems like it started off from disco and then come all the way to modern times. You know, where do you think that EDM music is going?
Where it's going? I mean, personally, I think it's going to take over because I don't see EDM as having an actual structure. Like, it's not an actual thing. Every song nowadays is made electronically.
Yeah.
So any song is technically EM, if not EDM. You know what I mean? Like, if it wasn't meant to dance to, then I guess those are the other songs. But
I think I see what you're saying.
You know
like,
what I mean?
Stuff is getting kind of more like synthetic sounding and electronic sounding across every genre. So I think in a way it already is taking over. Yeah, I think that you're exactly right. I think it's just going to continue to permeate all music as we go forward.
Yeah, and I remember growing up not thinking much about EDM, not really caring, and I really liked a certain song, and I thought that song is what EDM is, and it was the Darude song called Sandstorm. You ever heard that?
I haven't, but
I don't think so. I mean, maybe I have. I just need to hear it.
Right. Like
I think if I played it, I'm pretty sure you'd be like, "Oh yeah, this one."
Yeah.
But I used to think, man, that is EDM, and so that carried with me. And what I've found out now I understand it as like electro is what it's actually, the subgenre. But I thought electro was what EDM was. Like, it has to have like electric, like zappy type sounds in it, or like electric EDM. Yeah. But I don't know. Right after high school, I think my life changed, and I was in the structure of high school, and then you're out of it, and then you get to choose. And when I was choosing, then I got to find music that I really enjoyed. And most of it was in the EDM culture.
Well, which is why we wanted to talk to you about this, because, you know, Nick and I, we aren't very educated when it comes to EDM, and we've done a few episodes on like rock music and stuff so far, which is kind of our forte, but it's so nice to talk to someone who is really involved in that genre and really get a good education and honest opinion about it. So
yeah, and so that's another aspect of its history that I would like to get into, is more of the culture that comes along with EDM music.
Well, it's a double-edged sword, because a lot of the culture would probably say it's drug-fueled in a sense. It's hard to say because I don't want to consider myself a drug-fueled raver, because I don't really do that. Like, me and my friends are the sober friends. We'll go and brag about being sober, and a lot of people find that to be weird. Like, you're LDS and you rave? That's weird. And it's like, we love the music that much. Like, that's why we're here.
Yeah, just very passionate about it.
Yeah, and we're at our mental wits enough to maybe help someone who's fallen over, or, you know, like, we're safe people to be at a rave. Like, we can help out if a problem happens near us.
And you actually remember the experience after it's over.
That's why I was going through all these pictures on my, you know, I got the Google Photos, and I was going through it all, and I was like, I remember that. And I was like, I remember them all. I don't have things that I just don't remember, and it's scary that some people have those.
Yeah. And not to like hijack you, I want you to stay on, you know, your topic, but would you say that people do that because it is like a purely creative art form? They want to escape? Like, why would you say it is that so many people that are involved in this genre deal with drugs and things like that?
I think it's a part of life, and it's unleashed as soon as you're there. When you're going through society, especially, you know, where we're from, Utah County, we are not really in a scary place. Like, it sucks to say for other people to say that they're in a scary place, but some people do live in kind of scary places. And remind me where we were going.
Oh yeah, so like, would you say that the reason people are so involved with drugs when it comes to this genre. Yeah.
Yes, I was gonna bring up a leash thing. I think when you go to school and you come back, you got a curfew, everything that's going, you got a leash on your neck, you know? Most kids grow up with that, and they dream of the day they turn 18 where they can take that leash off, and now their life is theirs. Like, I find that to be a little bit concerning, because some people, they need to not be so bold.
They need that leash a little longer.
They need to recognize the importance or the why of the leash, rather than the why not of the leash. Like, because they're just dreaming of getting off. And I have a lot of high school friends that I've seen, like, wow, their parents were really strict. And they get out of it, they're living on their own. They go deep into like some dark stuff, and it's like, dude, I get it, but recognize your parents were trying to help.
Yeah.
So do you think it was more of an escape for them, or they were just trying to more rebel against the lifestyle that they grew up with?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably that. Like, they aren't truly addressing that they need, or that they had things going wrong. If they never addressed that they even had a leash, they're just thinking, oh, as soon as I get through my parents, like, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And that's kind of scary, because I wouldn't trust myself to do whatever I want, because I've learned you gotta really control everything. And if you just let go, some people, they just say, I don't care. Yeah. And they just drop, and it just spirals, and it just like, dude.
It's a dangerous road.
You can believe in yourself and know there's a better tomorrow.
Yeah.
Get those through your skull. And
so would you say that the reason, someone coming out of high school, the leash gets taken off,
Yep. And when you go to a rave, most people that invite friends to a rave, I guess it doesn't matter if they're going because they like the music or for recreational activities. But either way, whenever that person gets there, they found a new playground that they can do whatever they want.
Because of the creativity that comes from the genre and the way it makes you feel and the connection, would you say?
Is that what you would say would draw people to that? Because people can have that leash, but what makes them go to EDM specifically to experience this newfound freedom then?
Yeah.
I think EDM is just capitalizing on it more. Like, they have the bigger sets. Like, it's an actual set. Like, an hour long of good music.
Yeah.
Some artists will take 25 minutes to finally show up. Like, it's kind of a mess for other artists.
Yeah.
But these EDM guys, they're on top of their stuff.
You have to be, right? I mean,
DJ Khaled over at EDC 2017, I watched him get booed off stage.
That was pretty embarrassing.
Everyone, like, he tried to get the crowd to chant, DJ Khaled, DJ Khaled, and then it was instantly Yellow Claw.
Yeah.
And then like 5 seconds after that, lights went out, and about 10 minutes after that, boom, Yellow Claw starts up, and it's like, yeah.
You should tell our audience like the background story so they know why he got booed. Because
yeah, DJ Khaled. Well, it was a few things he did wrong. He claims that he was got sabotaged. And I didn't show up to the entirety of his set, but I showed up towards the end. And it was 55 minutes in to his set when he showed up.
Yeah, very late.
So he had technically like 5 minutes left, and then he has the audacity to play his one song or his two songs that he says 3 things on, and then he goes to the next song and there's another period of silence, and then he looks at the crowd and he's like, come on guys, this is California, and then California Loves bumps up and then starts playing, and we're like, dude, we're in Las Vegas right now. Like,
terrible.
The entire crowd, like, I heard everyone around me like, Las Vegas, California?
What?
Are you that far into your...
You don't even know where you're at?
Like, I get you got keys, you got influence, but you gotta provide good meaningful content.
Yeah.
And be professional when the time comes.
And maybe, you know, to his credit, maybe he was just having a bad day. Maybe we don't know what was going on in the background.
It was super hot. It was EDC 2017 down in Vegas, and it got to like 98 in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that's hot.
It was like in the hundreds during the middle of the day. I think a guy died on the first day in the hardstyle.
Oh, really?
He was at the hardstyle stage and I think overheated or something. It was hot to be sardined in a group, and they're jamming to hardstyle.
Yeah.
And whatever drugs were involved.
Yeah, that's not a recipe for...
It was intense.
Yeah.
I remember there were like 100 felony arrests a day or something. It was like 300 felony arrests total, or maybe 200. It was like an insane amount.
Well, and to kind of steer you back, like with the whole creativity, I guess what I was trying to ask, like, how does, did it start out that way where drugs were so involved in this genre, or was it something that just kind of came about due to the way that they made their sets and the way their music is?
Well, I'm gonna go off the fly on this one, because I listened to a podcast. It's Back to Back Podcast with Willie Joy. Shout out Back to Back Podcast. You guys are great. He does interviews with artists, and a lot of them are EDM artists. And he talked to one named Destructo, and Destructo I've actually seen. He does house music, and I've seen him probably 3 times, and I didn't realize it, but in his interview he talked about starting EDC. Like, he was the main, kind of one of the main guys who started what is now Electric Daisy Carnival. And it started out with like a Mickey Mouse LSD club.
Gotcha.
In a sense. And so it was kind of highly drug influenced as far as just EDC.
Yeah, just because some of our audience members may not know, what is EDC, or like, can you kind of talk about that?
It's Electric Daisy Carnival. It's a festival. They have them everywhere. There's EDC Japan, EDC Mexico, EDC, I'm blanking.
Just there's
different locations all over the world, right?
Yeah, all over the world. And EDC Vegas, Las Vegas is one of those bigger ones. In the 2017 one that I went to, they had it's a 3-day concert. And shows, they got 8 stages, so 8 artists are performing at all times. And it's in the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, taking up the entire speedway. You park way out yonder and get a shuttle there, or you can Uber there, and it takes like $60. It's insane. But you get there and it's just a wonderland, and wonderland as in there's lights and circus type things everywhere, and there's art everywhere, and there's carnival rides everywhere. There's Ferris wheels, and they're all lit up. There's fireworks. I've been to Stadium of Fire here in Provo, Utah.
Yeah, which is amazing.
And
Lots of fireworks.
I thought that was pretty neat. It was nothing compared to EDC.
Lots of lights, fireworks, just
the fireworks for just Porter Robinson's set. He had like 2 sets of fireworks go actually during his set.
Yeah.
But just one of those sets of fireworks was 10 times more magnificent than Stadium of Fire, and I'm not kidding.
Well, that's saying something, because Stadium of Fire is supposed to be one of the largest 4th of July firework displays in the country.
It was intense. And like every stage, like there were probably one huge stage that the main guys would play on, like Marshmello, Martin Garrix, Tiesto. He was bumping Tiesto when I was watching Porter Robinson over at Cosmic Meadow. It was a different stage. We were watching it from the bleachers, and it was magical, because like we could still feel the bass because it's so loud, and then boom, fireworks right above it. They're spelling out EDC, like they're drawing flowers. You can see daisies out of the fireworks. I didn't think that stuff existed, yet they're doing it in 2017. Like,
yeah.
And I was blown away. I got a whole video on my YouTube channel from it. It was like, I might have got Yellow Claws fireworks, actually.
Yeah.
But it was the same thing. It was amazing fireworks, and I think that's what a lot of this EDM is coming to. Like, the reason we're going out to these shows is the production. Like,
the art behind it.
It's an art. Not only the sound, but how the DJ is mixing the sound together. And that's just on the audio. Then you got visuals. They got the whole screen, like the entire stage is a screen, pretty much.
Yeah.
So the visuals are everywhere. I remember Yellow Claw, it was doing like some black and white thing, and it was like kind of hard to look at.
Yeah.
Because the entire like 40, 50 foot stage, like that football field, is huge. And the whole thing is blaring, and then Yellow Claw is going hard, and it's just like the craziest thing. And you're just watching from the bleachers, and you just see the sea of people. You look, and it should be grass. Kind of looks like a peachy grass, but you gotta remind yourself that's people, because you see these totems and flags sticking out.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, that's a lot of people, because 180,000 a day was how many they were bringing in. 180,000 a day.
So it sounds like it gravitates towards a lot of people, and there's a big culture in the way it's presented and everything.
Yeah.
And then that kind of draws into my next question is, are there a lot of misconceptions about EDM and its culture?
Yeah, probably. It's just a rough thing to try to convey. It's the drug thing. Like, there's people like us who don't do drugs at these shows. Yeah, we exist. We really like these artists. I love getting front row. And a lot of these shows, like, it's never reserved seating. It's just a stage, and then there's a rail, and then open space. Most of these shows, like, I went to DOS Energy 2019 just barely in August. I got Quicks up front on the rail. Quicks is one of my favorites nowadays. He's doing a lot of bass stuff, trap bass.
Heavy bass, and yeah, okay.
He does a lot of, kind of like Troy Boy, who we're seeing tonight. We're seeing Troy Boy.
Oh, really? You're going to a concert tonight?
Yeah, we're going to a concert tonight.
Oh,
We
that
didn't
is
think we
crazy.
were going to
There you
go,
go.
but Troy Boy's coming, and my wife got tickets. So we're going to go.
There you
That's
go.
awesome, man. I guess to kind of go back to, it all comes back to the culture of it, right? And we were talking about creativity and just, the way that it's presented, I think, because you've got so many people out there that are just say things like, EDM, there's no vocals, what's the point of this? It's just the same beats over and over and over again. There really is, it is an art, and it takes skill to produce music like that.
Have you ever tried to make a song on like Logic Pro or something?
No.
Like GarageBand even.
Would
Like,
not be up my alley.
If
at
you
all.
just take loops and put them together, then you might understand how hard it is. Because GarageBand is simplified. What they're doing is they're adding plugins that modulate this, and then plugins that modulate that. Plugins that do a filter wah, so it's a wah 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 wah, rather than a bah, they take sounds and chop them up and do what they want with them, and then they'll make a beat out of that.
Adding software on top of software, and
So, like, there used to be a time where you could almost mimic these songs and make them, like, acoustically. But it's getting beyond that point with some of these songs. We got people like Rez, who's, I think, came out from Dead Mouse. This girl named Rez. She makes these really nice beats. And I remember seeing a video, and she was doing the sound engineering on those beats. And so she'd use Massive or something to create it, and then she'd be like, how's this sound? And like, she's making every sound,
yeah,
They're
really taking her
sound,
time with it.
and they craft each sound, and then they put each sound in the right spot to make the beat, and it's just a symphony. It's modern day Mozart, It's exactly what they were doing, but I think Mozart might have been more structured. Like, they got ups and downs and valleys and rivers and,
Yeah, well, because we have different tools today that enable us to create different types of sounds like that. Back then, it was a lot harder to...
And everything was all acoustically done.
Oh, that's true. They didn't even have computers.
Yeah. It's a crazy world, just to see where we've gone way back, to the Baroque period, all the way to, modern pop and EDM and rock and roll and everything, and just how everything changes. I mean, even going all the way from the 60s where rock really was born on to see how different it is today. I'm sure it's even the way that when EDM started with disco music back in the 70s and how it's evolved into today.
Yeah.
And how would you say, with that evolution of music and the way that technology is changing so rapidly, just within the last couple decades, how do you think it's also affected just regular modern day society and culture?
Well, I think we've seen, in the past 10 years, there's been a real rise of hip-hop. At least I've seen it. I don't know if it's because I've been neck deep in hip-hop for 10 years or now.
No, I agree. I mean, the trap style hip-hop, triplet beats.
Trap is where the EDM kind of crossover came in. Because there was hip-hop, we're talking like Jurassic 5 with Charlie Tuna, and it's old school. They got beats and they just got rhymes and rhythms and it just flows. And then it goes from that. I got too many thoughts, man. It just goes everywhere.
Well, no, I mean...
No, just take it one little bit at a time, but...
It goes everywhere.
Because it permeates everything. Like, it's such a hard topic to cover. When I think hip-hop and, like, how it kind of progressed, which, granted, this isn't a hip-hop episode, but, you've got, like, NWA and Dr. Dre that came up with these new and different-sounding beats, still kind of using acoustic styles, piano
G-funk,
and... G-funk, exactly. But, then it progressed even more, and as EDM became more popular, I feel like it started to bleed into hip-hop, and, now you have artists like Post Malone that use...
Posty!
Yeah, very electronic-type sounds.
Austin Post, if I find your house in Utah, I'm coming over. Yeah, he's got a house in Utah somewhere here.
I didn't even know that. I would guess Park City if I was taking
Or maybe
guess,
Sundance or something like that.
Something.
It looked like a log cabin type of look, so...
Yeah.
Probably right.
But, and I guess other questions that we had about it, and one that I personally had going into this, and maybe we've already covered it a little bit, but some of my first recollection of EDM music and listening to it was listening to Skrillex.
Skrillex!
Yeah, the dubstep. And I was really curious on how that has kind of impacted the EDM genre and like whether it even is part of EDM or what would you have to say about that?
I think Sonny Skrillex took it to the next level. Like, if there is a level that was taken to, and he took it to the next. Makes sense?
Yeah. All right.
Because I remember my friend Matt, he used to listen to him in his other band. Because Skrillex was in a rock band. I forget the name of it, but he was the lead singer. And he actually got vocal cancer, like throat cancer.
Oh, wow.
And he couldn't do the singing anymore, or at least this is what I've understood. Either that or my friend lied to me.
Yeah.
One of those
That's
two.
okay, I mean.
But I came to believe that, okay, Skrillex got throat cancer, started Skrillex, because he wanted to keep making music somehow. And man, I dove deep into Skrillex. Like that first Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites album.
Yeah, that's one I remember.
It's legendary. But he wasn't alone. There were others that were doing similar things. But the impact that those songs had, like, that was like the first thing that was like trending on Twitter, it feels like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it felt like the first thing that was in a meme or like in a Vine.
Yeah, it was very new and fresh.
It was one of those first, yes, oh my, like.
And that using a YouTube video,
and
that was.
Use that.
Yeah. Which, for those of you who don't know, that song, Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites, there was a YouTube video, as YouTube started getting big, that was trending. And it was of a lady, I think she was yelling at a bunch of kids. She was very over the top. Is that the...
I don't think I've ever seen that original thing.
Well, I could be wrong, but he took it from a trending YouTube video, this audio, and he mixed it into one of his songs, which I don't even know if that had been done before, really.
It might have been done, but just the splash that he made with that.
It's probably what kind of launched into popularity then.
It got a lot of people wet in EDM.
Yeah.
Like, splash, and then it was kind of everywhere. Like, drops were happening. He was kind of the name of the drop, because there was also that Benny Benassi Cinema. You are a cinema. I can watch you forever. With that drop. Man, I only had a few songs downloaded to my phones at those times because you had to like save it as a file to your phone and like keep it. That was one of those songs.
Yeah, back in like the LimeWire days where you had to get it off your computer and get it on your phone, sync it.
It would be one of the only choices I had on ringtones.
Which we know nothing about, by the way.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Can't believe you.
And then so Skrillex, and another thing that I think is interesting about Skrillex is you had people now, like I have a coworker at work that when I talk about Skrillex, he's like, yeah, I don't like dubstep anymore. Like I really liked Skrillex when he came out, but dubstep just isn't my thing anymore. And was dubstep kind of like a turning point, almost like nu metal was for rock, where like some people really loved it, but other people
when they look back on it, they're kind of like ashamed that they never liked that kind of music.
Yeah, I guess some people could be ashamed for liking it, but
the early dubstep stuff.
Then there's me. I wear it on my shoulders. Like I love dubstep. Anything
proud.
That goes hard, like I don't care if it's got a build up that takes forever. Like whatever you presented for me, if I can take a pre-guess of what's gonna happen. Have you ever been listening to a song you've never heard, but then you like guess where the drop is, and you predetermine that you're gonna dance, but you don't know where the drop is, so you're like kind of taking a guess. But that magic when you dance to the drop that you've never heard before, I get chills every time, man. Like, especially when it's one of those songs that you're like, oh yeah, you know, like.
No, it's definitely one of those genres of music when you just feel the vibrations hits you. You can't help but just move.
Yeah,
you just gotta, and that's why it's called electronic dance music, because you can't just sit there and listen to whether it's on your headphones or at a big huge festival concert and it's coming out the big speakers just blaring at you. You gotta move. You gotta dance. You gotta you gotta move.
I can usually tell how much someone likes a song by how much they're moving to it.
Yeah.
Like if they're just straight, silent, not moving, I don't think they like the song. Yeah. But if they're even doing like the smallest of head nods, maybe even to like a half beat, anything, if they're moving at all, that's a sign that the song is good.
It's connecting with them.
It's doing something.
And the thing is, a lot of people, when they don't listen to EDM, like I'm not a big, huge EDM fan, but I still recognize that it's good music, because I don't think anybody who's even heard of EDM would think that like, oh no, that's dumb music, because they can hear that music. There's no way they're not gonna want to move. I mean, like, it's just, if it's not your cup of tea, it's still gonna have you moving just because of the type of music that it is and everything that you feel. Because I don't know, when I hear and feel, like, even just sitting in the car, I can feel it like vibrating, my insides, and I just want to move to it.
It makes it easy to move in what it leaves, or it declares a beat, and I think it's a sine wave, right?
Yeah, and I think that's something that even if people say that they hate EDM, they can't not move to it. It's just something that you can't.
And I find it funny because I'll try to dance to anything because I notice how people don't dance to things, and I think I subconsciously therefore dance to everything.
Yeah.
So all I will hear, I don't know, the iPhone jingle, and I'll be like, do, 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 do.
Like, do that little shimmy. Yeah.
I'm just like, I find little dances in everything, and I think it helps, or maybe being a drummer influenced that, or I don't know.
Yeah, that's another thing, you being a drummer.
Yeah.
How do you feel like, being a drummer and you're finding your love of EDM, do they like coincide each other, or did one influence you to like another one of those two more, or?
I think they go hand in hand, because like when I play the drums, I'm throwing my arms that are holding things at things in time. And that's honestly all I'm doing. When I'm dancing, I'm throwing my arms at things, but they're invisible. Like I'm kind of just dancing to nothing. But it's to the music, it's to the time, it's to the beat. So I'm doing the same thing. It's drumming, but dancing,
and that's something you grew up liking and enjoying.
It's just rhythm.
Yeah.
I remember I only took drum lessons for like 2 years, and then I was in a group class for like 4, and that's where I met Joe.
Okay, yeah.
That's where we got the Krong 5 going together, and then we were then in Blix 10, and now we're here.
Yeah.
And I remember
Well, and then not to kind of like steer away, but to kind of take it back to like the history, because I'm curious. You said it started with like Daft Punk. I think you mentioned like David Guetta.
Yep. Swedish House Mafia.
So, and it originated from disco music, you said.
Yeah.
Which is funny. People look back at disco music and like, oh, disco was a terrible time for music, blah, blah, blah. And it's funny because without disco music, it sounds like we wouldn't have this awesome EDM that permeates everything today.
Yep. I think I don't see why people diss so much on disco.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy disco.
Yeah, right. Well,
I mean, everybody at least knows Bee Gees Staying Alive, and everybody can rock out to
course.
that.
Yeah.
I like Nights on Broadway better, but
Yeah,
just me.
but of course, there's other ones too, but that's one that everybody knows.
Yeah.
So what would you say is like the next step? Because, we have disco music, then we have this rise of, a little bit more electronic music coming to light with Daft Punk and
then I think it goes straight into the Chicago house type of scene.
Chicago house.
So what's the Chicago house scene?
I think Chicago was a big main area, at least for a house. Like the house portion, there was a few people to come from there, like Cascade.
Mm-hmm.
He was from Chicago, and he used to do a bunch of those shows there. And he's actually LDS. He went on a mission.
Oh, cool.
He went to Japan, and he still talks about it with like fidelity. He's nice about it.
Yeah.
So it's just cool. But the house music in Chicago turned into, well, everything kind of flocked to Los Angeles. And everything kind of does nowadays.
Seems like
It
there's a
seems
lot
like
happening in Cali.
As soon as you go to Los Angeles, like that's where you get into these things. That's how you get onto Hollywood. It's like the doorstep of Hollywood.
Yeah.
As soon as it got there, I think it just exploded. As soon as Skrillex, he came up and dropped his music, and then all the songs after it were turning like dubstep and hitting the top charts, and it was just cool to watch.
I don't know if I already mentioned this, but you've got like, Skrillex did an album with Korn, who, Korn was very new metal, and then when Skrillex came out and was so new and popular, then that's when you get some more of the genre mixing that you still see today. You've got like Icy Stars that has very techno and electronic type beats over their metal, and it's just interesting.
Yeah, and people like Icy Stars is like maybe like Figure or Midnight Tyrannosaurus. Those are some DJs that do music it's darker, it's, I don't know, Halloween music?
Yeah, more grimy.
Yeah,
okay.
Horror type.
It's a good time to be talking about that. It's October.
Yeah, October, birthday coming up. I turned 24 in 2 days, sir.
There you go. Happy birthday, man. A little early.
Thanks. Getting things going.
Yeah. Wait, are you doing anything fun for your birthday? Or?
We're doing Troy Boy tonight, so
There you go.
There you go, celebrating.
that's all I know so far.
That's all you need, right? It sounds like.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
So we've talked a lot of different things about EDM music. Is there any other things that you feel like people should know about EDM music before we kind of wrap things up? Or
anything else about the culture or the history, or maybe shout out some of your favorite EDM type artists. I would love to hear, so we can check them out.
I would say people just need to be interested with the music. Like, don't just say I'm listening to EDM today. Like, no, just break down those barriers, and it's music. Just see what this artist put together. It's a person or a group of people, and when they do it well, they do it well.
Yeah.
And I feel like a connoisseur of good music, because there's some good people and they do it well. And if music's a drug, dude, Spotify can give you a good fix. But have you ever seen SoundCloud?
Oh yeah.
They a lot of these DJs are posting full mixes on SoundCloud. And it's free. Like, SoundCloud's free to use with ads, I think. But you can get their full sets. And some of these sets are mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Like, they're incredible. And for free. It blows my mind. People like Ekali. His Ekali. He's a DJ. He's from like Vancouver, and he travels all over the world now. He makes great music. He's got a Twitter thing. It's Ekali's Plant.
Okay. Like a thread or...
Yeah. You guys are pretty local to Twitter, correct? Or
No, I've never used Twitter.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I manage Transmitter's Twitter account, so I kind of have to be a little bit involved.
Well, I've noticed a trend. Like, if you're an EDM artist, you have a Twitter.
Yeah.
I think that's like a typical thing. And if they do use a Twitter, some of them are having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see, because you'll see the other EDM artists mimic it. So San Holo has his, I think it's his snare. No, San Holo's something has an Instagram. Medicine's Snare has an Instagram. Ikali's Plant has an Instagram. Like, all these random things have Instagrams, but they're just ran by the same EDM artist.
Yeah.
And I think it's just another way to branch out through social media.
Yeah, get
And I
those
think-
multiple accounts going.
And people like Quicks, he's from Australia. He does those, the trap, hardcore, not hard style, but trap, deep bass stuff. I love his stuff. I saw him on the rail, and it's just amazing to see and to feel. Because if you feel it, like you're at those concerts and the bass is just shaking your heart, insides and everything.
Yeah.
And it feels cool. And when you see the artists that you've been listening to, like you just discovered this guy and you like everything he's made, and then you see him live, that's just a 1, 2, 3. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And when you have EDM how it is, it's structured to be in these festivals. So you see multiple people. That's why I see, like I've seen people 3 times or seen them twice, or because I was able to notice they were on stage and go watch for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see just them and their entire thing, but I saw them. That's why I'm able to say so many. And a lot of people that do raves, they get to that point where like, oh, I want to go, but I've already seen that guy like 3 times, so I'm not too excited to go. Like, kind of me with Zed's Dead. I've seen Zed's Dead probably 5, 6 times.
So you've had the experience. And
So when they're headlining a show, I'm just like, well, it's Zed's Dead. Like, they're one of the greatest of EDM, and I'm just not excited because it's a mix of I know the music and I know what crowd.
Yeah.
Because you also get a different crowd per artist. So those hardstyle crowds where that guy passed away in, those are a little much. Like, I don't think I would be in those crowds rather than to just like make sure people are safe, like, because I'm a big guy. But some of them, like Troy Boy tonight, I know it's gonna be awesome because the people that go to Troy Boy are awesome.
Yeah.
Because it just attracts that kind of people. Right?
Yeah. If they have a certain type of sound, it'll attract that certain type of people. And if it doesn't have a sound, it won't attract those people. It's nice.
With EDM, it sounds like, you have these festivals and things where so much art and music is shared, and you have multiple stages and sets with all these different artists coming through and kind of doing their own thing, and each one of them has a different flavor. I think that's something that in a way is kind of unique to this particular genre of music, because I don't know, like when a rock band comes through and is doing a tour or something, a lot of times it isn't like that. Like, each rock band has a different flavor too, but I feel like with EDM, it's so much more, it evolves a lot quicker, and
there's more avenues to take.
Yeah.
Like, you don't expect visuals at an Avenged Sevenfold concert, or maybe.
No,
You know what I mean?
they have lots of visuals on their concerts. I saw them about 2 years ago, but I definitely say it would be a different kind of visual going to the Avenged Sevenfold concert, or maybe like some of the other EDM artists that you mentioned,
Like
going to that big EDM festival in Las Vegas, where you said it was like the whole stage was a screen. I mean, like, a lot of concerts still have visuals too, but I think it's a different kind of visual, different kind of aspect of music, and so it has a different kind of culture and feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another question that I wanted to ask that we both did, who would you say is kind of on top of the genre right now? Like, would it be Marshmello? I don't know. Is there anyone that is just very popular?
On top, Marshmello. I mean, if we're talking just pure money
and popularity, and
because we can look at actual stats of what they're getting paid too.
Yeah.
Like Deadmau5, $1 million a show, Marshmello, probably up there.
Yeah.
And so when you're making that much a show and you can do 2 shows a weekend,
a lot of
money ain't
money.
a thing if I got it. And they got it, and they're just playing games now. And do you even know about Marshmallow and the Benches?
No.
The Benches is a group that they've known each other since college or high school or something. They kind of grew up with each other. They call themselves the Benches. And it's
Benches, B-E-N...
B-I-N-C-H-E-S.
Benches. Okay, gotcha.
Benches. And I think it was last year, the Benches performed at EDC or Ultra Miami or something. But it was like, they actually performed. And it's Keizo, Yultron.com, and OK.
I've heard of .com. I haven't heard of any of those others.
OK did the Thief song with the do-do-do-do.
I'm not familiar.
Okay.
I'll have to check them out, though.
I'm going to be the crazy guy doing this.
No, you're good.
Yultron is actually opening for Troy Boy.
So
So that's really neat. Yultron, I'm going to see you in a few hours, you dirty boy. Just kidding. You're a great guy. And then Keizo, he's got a lot of stuff out too. He's got the Dog Pound or something. But it's these 4 big artists.com is actually Marshmallow too.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
.com made another alias, put a bucket on his head.
And that's Marshmallow.
That's Marshmallow.
Interesting. I wasn't aware of that.
So people don't know about .com and .com's music or the Benches, but they know about Marshmallow.
Yeah.
And he doesn't care to cross collaborate. Like he does not care to say I'm .com.
Yeah.
You know?
Like when he's Marshmallow, he's Marshmallow. You
It's
don't
straight
get
up.
it.
Most people wouldn't be like, hey, .com. They'd be like, Marshmallow, that's what you look like?
Yeah.
You know, and when people like Porter Robinson, Porter Robinson has a second name also, well, a second DJ name called Virtual Self, and Virtual Self has different music than Porter Robinson. And it's funny because Porter Robinson will even do different music than Porter Robinson technically. Like he has a thing called a DJ set and then Porter Robinson. So it'll say Porter Robinson DJ set.
Yeah.
And then other times it says just Porter Robinson. And they're different shows in a sense.
And would you say that's kind of a part of the genre too? It sounds like they do, these artists will do lots of different accounts on Twitter, Instagram.
Yep.
They'll have
Yep.
different names that they go by, different styles of music that they do.
Yeah. I think it's one of the things that we can do now.
Yeah.
Like me and Nick here and the other people in Blix 10 made a song and posted it as an artist and we get 100% royalties, we did that.
Yeah.
If we can do that, we can do it again.
Right.
And because it's easy enough for us to do it, I think professionals will be able to do it as a monetary choice, like a financial choice.
Right.
And I think some of them have, like Datsick. Do you ever hear of Datsick?
No, I haven't. Have you?
No, I haven't.
Datsick, he's another EDM artist. He was on tour with Excision for a while, and
I know Excision.
I think maybe Downlink too. But he's got sounds kind of like Excision.
Okay.
But he was about to go on tour with Space Jesus, another EDM
I heard
artist.
that one, yeah.
Yeah, I've shown you Space Jesus before because I was really digging him as soon as I found him. And they're doing great things. Like Space Jesus and all the people that sound like him, they got their own festivals going, like Volcan Festival. Like they're getting
blowing
huge.
up.
Anyways,
Oh, yeah.
What was I saying before that?
We were talking about Space Jesus and those other festivals that they've been doing with
Oh,
that genre.
Datsick.
Yeah,
Datsick.
yeah.
He was caught, or some girl did a thing and claimed rape or something. Anyways, he got like sexual allegations.
Oh.
And at a Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Tulsa, Arizona, something.
Mm-hmm.
And he decided to retire Datsick. And we were all like, oh, wow. Most people usually get this type of allegation and survive it because it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Or
because it wasn't
or
true.
it gets
or
resolved, or it's false or something. But instead, we're gonna not do anything else as Datsick anymore.
Yeah, just shut it down.
Complete
Just kind of
shutdown.
just put those allegations stopped in their tracks so it doesn't tarnish any future reputation in the future with anything else that he comes out with. Or?
Yeah, but then you Google Datsick, and you can see on his posts, like, he's got another name underneath. It says Grave Digger.
Gravedigger.
You know? And it's like, okay. And then there's this song called Rampage posted by Gravedigger. And it's completely different from Datsick, but you try to look up Gravedigger, and it's just masked, like some dude in a mask or whatever. Like, it's kind of mysterious looking.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Probably
okay,
Dad's
so it's
sick.
probably Dad's sick, just hopping over because he got tired of one type of music or something, you know?
Yeah.
It's just an avenue that we can take. That's why I kind of want to do an avenue with Blake's 10. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and yeah, I think that's a great point. Like here in our modern day, in this culture, well, yeah, in our modern day life, we have access to so much now. We have the internet, we've got screens everywhere, we've got accounts that we can set up within seconds. And so it's true, we really do have a lot of power at our fingertips, even just your average person walking around on the street.
It's just like when the Beatles made their music. All they had was like a 2-track or something. You know, they had like bare
Oh yeah, you know,
minimum.
they had analog recording.
They had
Digital
bare
wasn't even a
minimum.
concept back then. I mean, like they had different ways of experimenting with music and different sounds. Like with "Here Comes the Sun," that was one of the first songs to be popular. They used the instrument called Moog,
Yeah.
which is
Like
a type of synthesizer.
Yeah. And it's just crazy because they had so few equipment available, so much less to use than what we currently own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We all probably currently own a collaborative amount of software and hardware to create these things.
Yeah.
And post them globally
Right.
if we just do it.
Yeah.
And it's not just those who are doing it, it's those who do it well, who are excelling.
Well, same thing could be said of podcasts, and we talked about it
Yep.
before this episode today. Like, there's podcasts and then there's podcasts. There's,
Yeah.
depending on the quality and what people are talking about, that's what makes one podcast more popular than another. And I think the same thing could be said of EDM. You know, there's a reason these popular artists are popular.
Yeah, there's some type of influence that's like leaning this way. Like probably 2 years ago, chain smokers. You know what I mean?
They
They were everywhere.
Came on
They
the
had their
scene.
song "Closer" with your girlfriend back in Boulder. You know, we ain't ever. And you can already hear those little doo doo doo.
Yeah.
Like you just hear it, and it's just like, man, they nailed it. And then they released their next album. I wasn't a fan. You know, like the New York stuff. And then the album after that, I was like,
Right, yeah, didn't have the same.
sorry guys,
Same
you know,
energy.
like and then saw them live and they went hard. And I was like, hold up, you guys just went hard and your music isn't sounding hard. And then I look up their SoundCloud set, they're going hard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap, these guys are really good live. But their albums aren't doing so great.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there are lots of artists where you listen to their stuff, on the internet or on a CD or whatever, and it's like, yeah, it's okay, but then you go see them live, it's like, oh my gosh, this music was meant to be heard live. I actually experienced that about a month ago. I went to go see Breaking Benjamin,
Yep.
and Chevelle was with them. I've never been a really big fan of Chevelle. It's like, they're good, but hearing them live, oh my gosh.
They grasped you.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh, this music is not meant to be heard digitally. It's meant for live performances.
Firmly grasp it.
And I think that goes a lot with a lot of, EDM music because, you're supposed to hear it live.
And it's so different because I could tell you Porter Robinson, but I can't tell you Porter Robinson,
Yeah.
I pulled up his album earlier, started playing a song. I didn't control it. Boom, whole body chills,
Yeah.
Like, I hadn't heard that album in a while. Play first part of the one song and it's like instant chills. And it's like, okay, who's got the power to do that? Like, this guy does. Do I want other people to see and experience what I just did? Heck yeah! Like, listen to the World's album by Porter Robinson.
Yeah, which
From start to finish. And then, I don't know, try to see him live. I try to look up videos of him live, and there's not that many. Like, they're not the greatest, but if you see him live, like, and you get to see when he comes out, and like the feeling of, oh, is he gonna come out yet? And then he comes out, and then it's like, oh, all the lights and everything, and it's just like, it's so much. And then he leaves, and you're like crying, and you don't know why you're crying, but you're crying because he's leaving. And it's like, I've seen him 3 times, cried 3 times. Like, it was incredible.
Yeah, it just hits you in a way that you could never experience,
Yeah.
just at home.
And it's
Yeah.
like, I don't just cry, like, I can go for a while without crying. But like, you pull that song out, like, we depend on you, like Sad Machine, I just tear up. and it's called Sad Machine. Like, his song is called Sad Machine.
Makes you cry.
As soon as it hits that part of that set, like, I hear those little twinkles of Sad Machine, and I just, like, start tearing up, and it's like, what's happening? Like, it shouldn't be happening. I'm at a rave. There's tons of people everywhere. And then you look around, other people are crying too. And it's like, wow.
Well,
this is cool.
McKay, he told Nick and I to listen to the album Worlds by Porter Robinson before this episode today. And yeah, it was an amazing episode. And I feel like it is a really good take on what EDM music is about right now. Like, you've got aspects of everything we've been talking about. And yeah, it was cool to listen to that album, and it gave me perspective for what we're talking about.
I remember it was some podcast or some interview, Porter Robinson was speaking, and he was talking about when he made the album, and he had quite a lot of collaborative effort. He had some people in Japan. He had about a team in Japan that was helping create this anime type of thing for the visuals, because if you see it live, you'll see it's a movie. I've seen it 3 times, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and I cried every time. And all the work that was put into it is incredible. He pointed out the one song, Lionhearted. He said that song alone was probably 300 man hours.
Wow, just to make it.
Just to make Lionhearted, which is probably, I don't know, 3 minutes, 29 seconds. It's like...
Yeah, the amount of effort and time and creativity.
300 man hours.
Into 4.5 minutes. I don't know, 3.5, yeah.
And that's just for one of those songs on the album.
Well, and that's why Nick and I love talking about music so much, why we started this podcast and everything. Like, we feel, I don't know, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but music just takes you so far above everyday life sometimes, you know?
Yeah, and for me, it's not also just listening to the music, you know, and having fun with it, but it's also the reason why the people are creating it, and the lyrics and the effort and, you know, and the sounds. Just when you put all that together, mix it, it's a whole different experience that you'll never get anywhere else. And I think you really hit it right on the head. You know, you're not shoving words in my mouth. I think you're taking them out of my mouth. That's exactly how I feel. And that's why we wanted to start this podcast, so as to learn about other genres that we may not know nothing about. EDM is probably one of those genres I know nothing really about. I maybe know a handful of songs, and that's about it. I don't think I even knew that many names. But
thick with 2 C's.
Well, yeah, and music is just reflection and meditation, and I don't know, it's just always a pleasure to talk about it. And I don't know, as we start kind of wrapping up this episode, is there anything else that you would want to leave people with?
Well, I got a long list of people I gotta shout out.
Yeah. Well,
if I want to even try to do justice for EDM, let me try to just do a quick shout out.
Yeah.
I'd like to shout out a few.
Okay. Shout out Quicks. You're awesome. Shout out San Holo. You're awesome. Ooh. Shout out Porter Robinson, Virtual Self. You're so great. Shout out Avicii. Miss you. Shout out Audion. Seen you live quite a few times. You're the bomb. Shout out Asadi. Asadi is amazing. He plays on the 4x4 drum pad.
Oh,
I saw him live at Get Freaky a few years ago. That was one of my most favorite concert experiences ever, because he was playing the entire thing, and it was leaned forward, and he was up next to the rail.
Yeah, so you actually get to see what he's doing.
Oh, wow.
He was handing out waters to us. Like,
that would be...
It was so intimate, and it was it was Persian trap music.
Yeah, quite the experience.
So it's a little different, but man, like, it was incredible. Like, so shout out Asadi. You got things going. Keep them going. Alice in Wonderland. Yes! You're doing great. I love your Twitter. Everything's great. Adventure Club, you guys are so great. I love all your mixes on SoundCloud. Let's do a few more. Deadmau5, seen you live. It's great. Daft Punk, you guys are legends. Thanks for bringing us these musics. Datsik, I think you turned into Gravedigger, but I'm not sure.
Conspiracy.
But I respect it if you did. I need to shout out Louis the Child. Louis the Child is incredible. It's a 2-man group, and they're pretty young. They're like 21, 22 now, maybe. But they make some great tunes. DJ Snake, you're awesome. Don Diablo, you're awesome. E. Cali.
Glitch Mob?
Glitch Mob, of course. I do need to set some time aside for eCali though. I have special respect for eCali. He's got his Awakening mixes on SoundCloud. They're something else. Like they're gifts, okay? And if everyone could listen to them, they're amazing. Eptic, I've seen you live. You're awesome. E-Prom, I love what you do to music. Excision, you rock.
They do rock, man. They go
All right,
hard.
let's get a couple more now.
Okay, fine. Flux Pavilion, you're awesome. Flume, you're awesome. Feed
Oh,
me.
Flume, yeah.
I've seen you. You're so great. G. Jones, I can't get through all these. Space Jesus, J. Wolf, Jaws, Kaiwachi. I'm gonna see you live someday. I have missed you every time, but Kaiwachi, I will see you. Space Jesus, you're the greatest. Kid, I've met you. You're awesome. Louis Vuitton, I met you too. You're pretty dope. I want you to keep going. Knife Party, you're so great. Liquid Stranger, thanks for giving us the Infinity album. That was one of the greatest things ever given on Earth. Have you guys heard the Infinity album?
No.
I'm not.
So, Liquid Stranger, he posts a 30-song album.
Wow.
Out of nowhere. Each song was just like fully produced and perfect. Like, it was a beautiful album, and each song was great, and 30 of them. And I was like, that's such a gift. Like, thanks, man. You deserve.
Well, and as you guys can tell, McKay
Has
could
many,
go on all day.
many more.
I could.
Like, this
shout
is-
out Marshmallow. You're the greatest. I
This
know
is
you're
why
.com.
We wanted to talk about this with him today. Like, he really, and he put together so much, like, he did so much research just for this episode.
Just a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah,
like,
and it's
a
possible
lot.
we may have to do another episode just to grasp
Yeah.
I would
all
love
the more
to.
stuff that
It was
we
supposed
have
to be
cover.
like a 15-parter.
Yeah,
Supposed to be
yeah, there you go.
15 parts.
Hey, 15 parts, I'm down with it.
You've heard it a million times, but that's because it's worth it.
I engrave stuff.
Need something engraved?
I engrave stuff.
Need some gifts for holidays and birthdays that are actually cool and can be totally personalized to your liking?
I engrave stuff. Check out their social medias. I see an Instagram giveaway very often, and they're actually legit. Connect by going to iengravestuff.com.
Another thing they have is an engraving service. If you have a thermos or a bottle or a baseball glove or anything you can think of, all you have to do is get in touch with the awfully friendly people from iengravestuff.com, and one of their laser experts can get an estimate to you. It's super simple, and they work hard to make it easy to explore your engraving ideas.
And if you go to iengravestuff.com and you're shopping, be sure to type in TP10 in all caps in the promo code box at checkout. That'll get you 10% off. Check out I Engrave Stuff today.
But yeah, we thank you so much again. Before we kind of close out here, is there any like last minute things you want to say about EDM? And then we also would love for you to tell people where they can find you and follow you.
Well,
Yeah, have at
I'd
it.
say if you don't want to be part of the rave culture, don't. Like, you don't have to be. But let those people who found it, and it is their new, I don't know, light at the end of the tunnel, let it be their light at the end of the tunnel. They need it, and just let them. Because in time, they'll realize where better things are.
Yeah.
But if that's where it is for them right now, let them. Like, it's a great time. You learn a lot. But have fun. Like, be safe. That's always. Have fun, be safe. I say that to everyone. It's just the mainstays. And I'll say my socials and stuff.
Yeah,
Is that how
and
it
and
goes?
we'll link them down in our description too.
Cool. Well, you can go to my website, please. It's iengravestuff.com. I'll engrave whatever you like. We can do a lot of wood. We can do cutting boards. I'm getting good enough to do photorealistic engravings.
Yeah, proof of that is sitting right here next to me on this water bottle.
Yeah,
So-
we can. I put my face on a tortilla. I took a picture of myself, put it on a piece of wood.
If there's a
can do it
fandom
for
that
you.
you're crazy about, Star Wars
Yeah,
or
I'll try
lots
not
of,
to get
Star
copy-
Trek or things like that, you can put them on a piece of wood and things like that. And
If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can check out at McWoodyDrum. That's my personal one. Or you can go to at iEngraveStuff or at Blix10Official. I
Okay.
also run that one. I also have 2 other pages, but I won't mention those. Go to iEngravestuff.com. Order stuff now. Get it for holidays. blow up our Instagram page, do whatever you want. You can watch all our stuff on YouTube. We got a bunch of Instagram videos and photos, and we're making stuff happen, and support us. Thanks.
Well, and McKay definitely is, and we normally leave off the end of every episode with lyrics from a favorite song. In this case, it will be McKay's song.
Yes, sir. I chose a beautiful original by the none other than Porter Robinson. It's from Sad Machine. That's the title of the song. The one that I cried about, yeah. And this is usually the lyrics I cry to. And it says, "And though I know, since you've awakened her again, she depends on you, she depends on you. She'll go alone and never speak of this again. We depend on you, we depend on you."
Thanks so much for listening, guys. We hope you enjoyed it.
We'll see you next time.